What's up, guys? So this video is going to be a little different than what we've had on the channel. It's going to be more just about kind of where I've gotten in the project and where I'll be going. I'll kind of go over some details of how I've done some of the processes, and I'll touch a base on a little bit of the bed mounts that I've made for it. But let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, so here are the body mounts for the bed. I just used some square tubing. I'm not 100% sure. I believe it's probably 2.5 wide, and it's an inch tall. And what it is just some of that same crush washer material that I used in the hockey pucks, and it's just some tubing that I've cut to fit inside here. And it may be a little overkill because I wanted to have that little bit of insurance to maybe keep from this pressing down over time. I don't really think that it would, but this is gonna have quite a bit of weight in the bed of it. I did some math on it the other day, and I don't remember the specific numbers, but even without all my gear, it's gonna have 600 pounds in it. That being the decked drawer system, the rack that holds the rooftop tent itself, 33-gallon fuel cell full of fuel. Put me around 600, and then plus all my gear, you're looking at probably closer to maybe even 800. And then by the time I'm up in the tent, there's another, we're going to get close to 1,000 pounds in the back of this thing, and I just wanted to make sure I have as much insurance as I possibly can when it comes to the rigidity of these mounts. But I think they turned out well. I think they'll work good. They're not going to quite bring me to the right level as them themselves. What I'll do is I'll get the bed placed on there, kind of use this body line that carries over into the bed to figure out how much more height I need. And then from there, I'll use some rubber matting in between the mount and the actual bed itself to bring it up just that bit further. And that'll also give me a little bit of cushion, just so it's not straight up metal on metal when I'm driving down the road or going on trails and it's just sitting there rubbing. And that allows paint to wear off and rust to start. So that's kind of what we're trying to get away from here. And then on the inside of the cab, I've got all my new parts. Anything in these boxes here is going to be stuff that I've refurbished, and then obviously this is new stuff. We've got all kinds of stuff. It's going to be pretty awesome once I get this thing all the way put back together. And I've done a little bit of work on the inside of the engine bay. Like you've seen in the other video, I've gotten my wiring harness done, voltage regulators painted up, back on. Got a new master cylinder for the clutch, and then refurbished the supply lines for the coolant. It's starting to come together. Got the hood hinges painted up, nice and clean looking. And I'm also going in and anything, I'm not gonna sit here and paint bolts. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I've just decided I'm gonna go ahead and spend the money and buy new bolts. And I actually tried ordering some online, and they ended up coming in as the wrong thread, and I ordered the correct thread, but I'm not gonna make that mistake again. I just go to the store, grab a bag of bolts that I'm using at that time. Like when I took everything off, like if I were to take this off, I would have put it in a baggie, labeled it voltage regulator bolts. So then once I've decided, hey, I've got these parts ready to put on, I grab the bag of old bolts, head down to the local hardware store, and just start picking from the bins and getting it all put together. And I can also bag it separately from that too, so that way I have everything right and ready. And so like with this, I've done the same thing with the cab. I I don't worry about washing it. I just take a wire wheel straight to it. Even with all the dirt and grime on it, it takes it right off. But I'll take a wire wheel. I'll get it all wire wheeled down to either bare metal where it's rusty, or at least just get all the grime off of the painted areas. And I don't really see a point in taking it completely down to bare metal. I mean, if it stays on there after the wire wheel, it's there. And that just gives me another layer of protection. But I'll use this for like the smaller areas. And then for the bigger areas, I use a grinder with a wheel like this. And this really gets it off. And so I'll get it stripped down to about like this. And then I'll wipe it down with some alcohol. And then give it a light sand. And I wipe it down with alcohol and then sand it and then wipe it down with alcohol once more. And that, it kind of feels like I'm doing something I shouldn't, but it seems to me in my mind, if I can get all the dirt and grime off of there before I hand sand, it's just less work I'm having to do. So it's more work but less work. And I may be wrong about that, but that's just kind of how I feel about the situation. But as you can see, there are so many holes to fill on this bed. At this point, just trying to get it to where it'll work. Because for one, you're not even gonna, once this is painted, which I'll be using Raptor liner to do the inside of the bed, and then the underside I'll be doing that Rust-Oleum undercoat like I did with the cab. Once this is Raptor lined, it's going to get a decked drawer system on top of it, and you'll never see it again. And when it comes to parts for like something like this right here, or this, what I'll do is I'll just kind of same with the bed. I'll take a wire wheel to it, wipe it down with alcohol, hand sand it, wipe it down with alcohol again, prime it, paint it, the basics. With my distributor, I didn't paint anything on this. What I did is it was already had a new distributor cap on it. I didn't worry about getting new. I just kind of cleaned it up. Anything aluminum I'm not painting. I just take a Scotch-Brite pad to it and really get it cleaned up as much as I possibly can. And then this is stainless steel, so I did the same. I just took Scotch-Brite pad to it and called it good. Put some more wire loom on there, and it's pretty decent. I mean, it almost looks like it's probably a new part, but it is not. So this is what we'll be tackling in our next video. I called the carrier today, and the engine is in Dallas, so I should be seeing it within the next 4 or 5 days. And that'll be awesome. I've really, I mean, that's why we started this project, was because the engine failed. And so I'm finally getting the heart of this thing back, and it'll be brand new and in the best shape it possibly could be. And then for the transmission, what we'll be doing to it is we'll be cleaning it up. This center part is steel, this is aluminum, and then I believe everything back there is aluminum, so it won't get any paint but in this area right here. And I'll be pulling the bell housing off, pulling the transfer case off, and redoing all the seals, all the bushings, getting new boots for the shifters, and new bushing for the shifter as well. And I'm going to try and make this thing look like it's brand new as well. And then once I've got it opened up, I'll be able to assess the gears and see maybe about how much more I can get out of this, because I didn't have any issues with the transmission before the pickup stopped. And if I can keep from spending $2,000, I'll definitely take that option. And I'm sure it will need replacing soon. I would imagine this transmission has just as many miles as that motor did, and it was sitting at over 400,000 when I pulled it out. So I'll be able to, but I want to get as much life out of this thing as I can, and also do anything I can to help it. I'm pretty excited about that. It's a big step for this project. Everything else is, at this point, is a big thing, but in the moment it was really just tiny little bits that I was doing just to kind of pass time while I'm waiting for the engine. And then once the engine is in, and the transmission's in, bed's back on, I'll do the axles next. I'll get the lift kit, we'll pull the axles out, get those painted, put the lift on, and then go over the brakes, kind of see what they need. So these are actually 15s on here already, and I believe I want to stay with that. I think I want to go 15 by 10s with the 35s, giving me a good amount of sidewall, and that'll really fill out this wheel well, because right now it is looking like a really tall guy with tiny feet. All right, y'all, thanks for watching. I know that was probably not the coolest thing ever to sit through, but if you made it this far, then man, you're a real trooper, and I really appreciate it. It shows that you actually kind of want to support the channel, and that goes a long ways. But we're gonna go ahead and end it here. Appreciate you guys watching. Y'all have a great day. Peace.